Sitaram, Salam Alaikum, good morning. First of all, let me thank Brother Harry once again for organizing this wonderful conference on the relevance of spirituality to tackle the problems of modern era. The subject which I have been given is right here. Modern science and ancient wisdom, the challenges of the 21st century. I have spoken on this subject in some universities in Europe, particularly in Czech Republic, Romania, Hungary, and Vienna. And I think the younger generation liked this subject very much. I hope you would like it as well. Now first let us examine what are the challenges we are facing in the 21st century. So the first task I have done is to identify 7 major challenges which we are facing today. There could be many more, but I have divided them into 7 major parts. The first part is the poverty and malnutrition. I think we all know that approximately 1 billion people today, they sleep without eating enough. These are the statistics given by the Food and Agricultural Organization. 1 billion people do not have enough to eat. On the other hand, some of us who are very lucky, we waste a lot of food in the 5-star hotels where we stay. A lot of food, a lot of water, and other resources. So there's a contrast. On the one hand, there's tremendous wastage of food. On the other hand, there are approximately 1 billion people who don't get enough to eat. And out of them, 81% come from the developing countries and 19% from the developed countries. So this is one of the major problems I see in the century. And this is what Mahatma Gandhi said: poverty is the worst form of violence. You can see these pictures. Now the second major problem is the glaring disparity of income and wealth. You would not believe, but these facts are true. 1% population owns 40% global resources. 1% population. 3 richest individuals have more wealth than 48 countries put together. This is the fact. These are the facts documented in various documents around the world. So this is what we call the distributive injustice, and which has been growing up in the last few years. The third problem the urban slums. In the last 3-4 decades, the urbanization has increased at a very fast pace, at a very rapid pace. In 1800, only 3% people of the world lived in the cities. Today, approximately 55% live in cities. And out of them, again, approximately 1 billion people live in the slums. 1 billion people. You can go to Mumbai, you can go to Rio, you can go to Sao Paulo, you can go to Mexico City, you will find large slums. People there, they live in subhuman conditions, they are born in subhuman conditions, they die in subhuman conditions. These are the realities of life. Despite growth of GDP, since the Second World War, the world GDP has grown at least 100 times, not 100%, at least 100 times. Despite that, we are having a problem of growing unemployment. Not in Trinidad and Tobago, but rest of the world is facing this problem. Today, at least 600 million people are unemployed in the world. And there are approximately the same number who are semi-unemployed, who have part-time work but not full-time work. And this problem is growing in the younger generation more and more. So this is another major problem we are having in the world today. Now these are the problems which don't affect us immediately, but this is climate change problem. Once this start affecting us, it will change the entire demography, entire lifestyle of humanity. You know, I don't want to speak on the, climate change much, because you all know what is happening. These are all the facts. There are various conventions which have been signed on these issues. IPCC is one of the important, institutions. We have the Kyoto Convention, we have many other conventions, and they all agree that the temperatures are rising, the weather patterns are changing, then there are rise of sea level, some of the islands may never exist after a while, even the seasons are coming in a different way, the temperatures rise all of a sudden and they fall of a sudden, there are, what you call sudden rainfalls and sudden snowfalls, and then heat rises. All these changes have happened in the last 20 years more frequently than they ever did before. Now, new diseases. World Health Organization has told that at least 2 new diseases are coming every year, which is unprecedented in the history of mankind. And new diseases are coming which are incurable. And the cases of autism are increasing tremendously. From the very beginning, people are, they don't know what to do because they are born with autism. Various other diseases, cancers of all varieties, heart diseases, they are tremendously increasing. These are the recent developments. AIDS, of course. Now this is the last problem which I have put together, social and ethnic conflicts. Increase in crime, drug addictions, domestic violence, intolerance, terrorism, ethnic and religious wars, and wars to control resources, particularly energy and natural resources. So these are the 7 problems I have identified in the modern times, the 21st centuries. There may be many more, I'm not denying that, but I think these are the major problems, major challenges we face today. Now, I would like to say very briefly what is the contribution of modern science to tackle these problems. Modern science actually has enhanced these problems. They have created equipment which can exploit nature faster. They have created machinery which can have mass production, and therefore leading to concentration of mass, what you call means of production and income and resources. You can exploit nature much more. The nature has been exploited in the last 100 years far more than what it was done in the last 5,000 years. Remember this, last 5,000 years, we did not exploit nature as much as we have done in the last 100 years. So this is what modern science has done, the mass production. They have invented all kinds of things, causing a desire for new things all the time, which is called in Sanskrit trishna, which is never satisfying. You keep desiring new and new thing every day. Every day you have a new cell phone and new music system and new computer system and new air conditioner system and new type of apartments. So there's a desire which is keep going up and up and up. So modern science has not really able to do much. In fact, they have contributed to complicate these problems. The concentration of wealth has increased. Health problems have increased because they have invented these new chemicals which are infused into our body every day, causing all kinds of reactions. And that is why in fact, today the studies say that 67% of diseases we have today are because of the side effects of the medications we had taken in the past. So this is the contribution of the modern medical science. Because we don't want alternative system, we don't want things like Ayurveda and acupuncture, because that is not suited to the modern pharmaceutical industry, which is extremely great lobby which has around the world, you see. So this is what has happened to the contribution of modern science to us. Now let us see what are the causes for all these problems. What are the root causes? If we look at the root causes of these problems, the first important cause is that we do not understand ourselves. We don't know who we are, and what we want in life. In fact, this is what we associate ourselves to the body. We feel that we are a body. We take care of our body all the time. We do everything for our body. We do not realize that the body is sustained by something called soul inside. And the soul is the one which is your identity. Body is my body, it is not me. That is why we call it possessive pronoun. My body, my hand, my mind, not me. Somebody is possessor, and that possessor is your soul. That we do not realize. And we do not understand ourselves, who we are and what we want in life. That is the biggest problem we have. And therefore we have greed. We want more and more wealth. Those people who have bicycle, they want motorbike. Those who have motorbike, they want car. Those who have car, they want aircraft. Those who have aircraft, they want a yacht. And those who have yacht, they want to own the entire world, you see. Even if you own the entire world, you will not be satisfied. That is what Mahabharata says. And those people who own islands around the world, even they are not satisfied. So, this is a greed, this is trishna which can never be satisfied. Excessive consumption is the result of it. For excessive consumption, you need to exploit the mother nature. You have to dig all kinds of minerals. You have to use all the energies available. And then you have to contaminate. Because the more you produce, the more you contaminate. The air is contaminated, the rivers are contaminated, the soil is contaminated, the oceans are being contaminated because of this excessive production. Then intolerance, because we are losing the spiritual values, people are becoming more and more extremist. They feel I am right, nobody else is right, and they start fighting. There's hatred, there's negativity. I think that has become more and more obvious in the recent years, and with more wealth, people are becoming more arrogant. This is what has emerged all around the world. We have lost respect, we have lost compassion, and we have lost, goodwill for the rest of the world. So these are the causes. Now, what does ancient wisdom say? You see, we must understand what we are and what the nature is, what this universe is. Yesterday, Brother Harry was saying, why do we have 5 fingers? I'll give you answer to that. Why do we have 5 fingers? Because in this universe, there's nothing accidental. Everything is absolutely mathematical. Remember this word. Because this universe is constituted of 5 physical elements called ether, air, fire, and water. Earth. These are the 5 elements which constitute this entire universe, the physical universe. And these very 5 elements constitute the human body. Every one of us is made of these 5 elements. Once we die, the 5 elements go to the 5 elements. And each of our senses, the 5 senses we have perception, 5 senses of action, each one of them are connected directly to these 5 elements. I don't have time to go into the details, but I can explain that on some other occasion. Each of the 5 actions of perception and each of the 5 actions, 5 senses of action are connected to these 5 elements. So we are connected to this universe completely. We are not isolated, we are not on our own. The whole universe works together. The entire universe is filled with energy. It's all this so-called empty space. It's the most powerful element in this universe you can imagine. Everything exists in this empty space which you can imagine. So you should realize that we are connected. We are all one. All the species of life which exist, they are all part and parcel of this universe. The functioning of nature, how the seasons change, how the fruits come in a particular season, how the snow falls in a particular season, these are all regulated. Nothing is unregulated. We must understand this functioning of the nature and the humanity and other species of life. We are not the only species of life, there are other species of life. Therefore, we have no right to misuse any of these resources. In Isavasya Upanishad, the first sloka says that you are a tenant in this world and you should use only what is needed for you to be used. Don't misuse any resources because they do not belong to you. In any case, do not belong to you because once we die, everything is left behind. All your bank balances, all your properties, all your islands are left behind. So this is what we must understand, the first thing in this. And that will reduce our greed. We must understand that we are a soul, we are eternal. The body is like a cloth which will come and it will be discarded when it is old, and the soul will take a new body. And we could be born in a Shanti town. We could be born in the slum in the next generation. So it's not that we are rich today, we are happy, but tomorrow we could be in a slum in Rio. We never know. We could be the victim of a gun shot. So don't think that this cannot happen, and perhaps this happens to each one of us over the lifetime. So we must recognize this interdependence of the entire universe, how it functions, and how the nature and other species of life affect us. Now, the other point which I would like to emphasize is, what is the purpose of human life? Why are we here? I don't have time to go into all this detail right now because time is a constraint. Otherwise, I would have been very happy to go into these details. Now, what is the purpose of human life? Why are we here? If you think yourself, everybody is here to be happy. Tell me very single person who do not want to be happy. The only objective in this universe of existence is to be happy. There's no other purpose. If you want to accumulate wealth, why? To be happy. If you want to have your friends and your family, why? Because you feel it will give you happiness. You want to become Prime Minister and President, why? Because you feel it will make you happy. So happiness is the only purpose of life, and which is a legitimate purpose, but it is misunderstood in certain ways. In Sanskrit, there is a word called Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat, Chit and Anand, these are three words. This is the name of the God. Sat means which is eternal, which exists forever, never subject to any change. Chit means Chetana, that is the consciousness, that is the intelligence, that is the activity, the life. And Anand means the happiness and the bliss. This describes the quality of the God, Sat Chit Anand. And since we are part of the God, we have that small particle of the God, we also have these three qualities. Sat Chit Anand, we all have that in ourselves. Our soul is eternal, we are conscious because of that soul. I'm talking, I'm standing, I'm walking because I'm conscious. And Anand because every one of us wants to have happiness. So this is the only purpose of life. Now what we are doing today is that we are trying to look for happiness in the physical world. In the world which itself is not perpetual, which itself is not eternal. I'm looking for happiness in a cell phone, in a house, in a television, in an aircraft. Now those things are themselves not eternal. How can they give you eternal happiness? And the result is that I get a wonderful car today, next day my neighbor gets a better car and I feel unhappy. You go with a beautiful jewelry today and next day you find another lady wearing better jewelry, oh, this is not good. So this is the kind of happiness we get in the physical world. It's called Maya. It is basically an illusion. You get happiness for a transient short period and then you go to another cycle of pain. Then you again earn, you try to get better thing and you want to be happy again. And that cycle continues all our life because we are looking for happiness into the physical things which themselves are not eternal. That is the problem we are having. Now, if we want real happiness, we must understand ourselves, who we are. And we should look for our soul. The soul, if we start realizing that I'm a soul and I'm not a body, I think that will solve a lot of problems in our lives. Firstly, all this mad race for higher consumption will disappear, which is destroying the nature, which is causing all these problems of inequality, of poverty. Secondly, as Mahatma Gandhi said, we have to go back one day to villages and small industries. You see, these big industries have created a lot of inequalities. These are some of the quotes from some very wise people. We remain entangled in all this world all the time. So we have to look for the internal harmony within ourselves to get final peace and happiness. You will find true happiness in life when you realize it only takes you to be happy. True happiness lies within yourself. It doesn't come from anywhere else, not from outside. Now, moderation is one of the most important part of life. Excess is always bad. In Sanskrit they say, ati sarvatra varjate. Ati is excess, sarvatra is always, varjate is prohibited. Excess is always bad, moderation is the essence. Buddha gave the middle path. Middle path is the path of moderation. So, you have to, the poverty is also a curse, but at the same time, extreme prosperity is also a curse. These are both curses. If you have a lot of bank balance, you don't know how to take care of it. If you don't have enough to eat, then also it's a problem. So the path of moderation is the real path for happiness. The growth of GDP is the biggest curse. Every nation is trying for increased GDP today. How do you increase the GDP forever? Tell me. For that you have to increase consumption every single day. And then you have to exploit the mother nature to produce more every single day. Then you have to contaminate the air and the rivers and the soil every single day. That's the only way to keep your GDP growing. I think this is a totally misplaced concept. The world leaders must realize that its time is over to increase GDP. They should be happy with what they have. And a better distribution of what we have is more than enough to make the people happy. Living with less is the concept. You see, in economics, if there are two units, one unit produces, say, Y output with X input. Another produces the same Y output with X minus 1 input. The second unit is considered more efficient because it is taking less input, X minus 1 input, producing the same output. So the person who takes less from the nature is more enlightened because he is able to manage his life with less. And that is the philosophy of ancient wisdom, that be content with less. Try to reduce your needs. Try to reduce your desires. That is the crux of all this. The trishna can never be satisfied. So what we are eating the mother nature. The nature which gives us food, gives us water. The air we breathe comes from there. Whatever we wear, the clothing comes from there. Our habitation comes from there. Whatever we use comes from the Mother Earth, and we are eating that Mother Earth. We are poisoning that earth. So how can we live if we are cursing our own resources, our own mother? I think one day we'll have to face a curse too. I think we need more Mahatma Gandhis, more Mandelas, and more Mother Teresas to make this world happier. That is the only way out. Less consumption, less production, lower GDP, lower income, more happiness. I think that is the way out to tackle all the problems of poverty, inequality, climate change, crime. The crime is why. The crime is taking place because people want to have more and more. They are not happy with what they have, and that's why there's crime. Crime is because of hatred. Tolerance has gone away. People don't think they are equal. We must realize that we are all part and parcel of the same Almighty. Like the sun rage, the sun gives the rage, we all have those rage inside us, and we are equally, each one of us has the same ray as anybody else. So how can we be different? We are all divinities, we are part of the divine, and we must realize that we must live together. If we want to survive, we have to live together, not only the humanity, but remember other species of life as well. They also have right to exist. We have no right to destroy them. We are destroying fishes, we are destroying animals, we are destroying all the forests around the world. We have no right to do that. If we do that, we will finally face the curse ourselves. Thank you very much.